Welcome. If you thought LOTRO grading was going to be controversial, you should have been in the pre-show where we were grading cheese. It about went to blows there for a minute.
Got spicy.
Blows.
Well, welcome. This is one of my own personal favorite streams. I love the grading streams. We have played LOTRO for 17 weeks. That is a long period of time. It was 2022 when we started playing LOTRO. So we have been at it for a while. So we played the game, we've done the grouping, we've done the rating, now we're going to grade it. But I am Draq, I'm your resident wizard. Tonight we also have Essen, our lore master.
That's not me. I'll take it.
We have Nathan Napalm, our resident paladin.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be here because it means I'm not playing LOTRO. I'm grading LOTRO.
we have Stans in the fire. He's probably going to throw some math at us tonight.
Evening, everybody.
We have Sparoh. She is so serious that she has brought Gatorade instead of rum tonight. Or moonshine instead of moonshine.
Instead of moonshine, yes.
Staying sober for it.
Serious business.
We have Man of Rohan, whose grading I really think should be double because he's our expert on Lord of the Rings.
It should count for double, I agree.
Gulu is rating us.
Oh, Gula, thanks for the raid. We have Crowsinger. I'm interested to see if she's going to take up the entire 3 minutes of her time on every topic.
I'm just not going to stop talking.
So hard to keep you quiet.
We have Vendini, who started out the greatest healer of the land, went to the second greatest healer of the land, and now is the worst healer of the land. I don't even understand what's going on there, but we have Vendini.
Things have really gone downhill. That's all I can do.
We have a Sarah. She's like streaming LOTRO so much she decided to stream on her own channel. So that's how that went.
That was the deciding factor.
We also have Fate. She's our awesome mod and also carries the DPS.
Hello.
And last but not least, we have a Sarah.
Wait,
we did a Sarah.
We did.
Oh no!
Aaron Ellis.
Aaron Ellis, who I've labeled a Sarah.
The same person.
All right, well, ignore that.
Oh boy! Well, you're not on camera.
Hold on,
so
no, hold on.
At least remembered you.
On camera edit.
At least I got a shout out.
Hold on.
Wait, why are what's happening?
You weren't forgotten. You were just called someone else.
No, it's because I labeled it wrong. If you look on the thing, I called her.
A Sarah.
She's a pink Sarah.
Professional streamer moment right here.
Yes,
all right,
here's what it's all about.
Here's your professional streamer right here.
We're basically twins, so
yeah. I mean,
good thing we have
I get forgotten and renamed.
Oh, Draq is our lifeline.
There it is.
All right, there we go. Oh, changed. Done.
Nice. See, professional.
There you go. All right. Back in action.
Oh, we're back.
Back in action. All right. There we go. All right, so let's get to the grading. We do not have Theric here tonight. He wanted to be here. He wanted to do the grades, but he has a big old Canadian thunderstorm rolling through his area, and he's afraid for his life. So he will not be joining us.
That is what happens in Canada. We do fear the thunder.
We fear the thunder.
So I'm going to be writing down his stuff or saying his stuff as we go along. Also, if you notice up here in the top left corner is also the dreaded timer. Because we have so many people, we got to keep this moving. So I will start the timer, and then you've got your 3 minutes to kind of, gauge how long you have to talk. All right, just to keep everything moving along. And everybody's promised
the anxiety.
Yeah, everybody's promised that they're not going to take that long, but this is not my first grading session. I know exactly how this goes. People start talking and they don't stop. So, all right. So we're going to start with
anybody who does that.
Yeah, I don't know anybody. So we're going to start with Theric. For grouping, And rating, he gave it a B-. Theric did. Grouping is secondary to solo play, but is still accessible and fun. Raids are challenging. B- for Theric.
Oh, are you reading the notes off of his card?
Yep.
I was like, he can't even like tell why he picked that, but yeah, that's okay.
Yep.
Good.
Yep, I read that. So that is Theric. So that starts with our first real answer, which is Stands of the Fire. You are on the clock, sir.
All right, so I actually pulled an audible on mine and changed it up a little bit. I initially had this at a C-. I have changed it to a C+ because they have added delving difficulties to a lot more dungeons now. And the crew I've been running with, sorry, Draq, that's a C+. Yeah, thank you. I think you're editing me and Theric at the same time.
Hold on.
Yeah, technical difficulties.
Keep going. I'll fix it.
They, with the expansion of the extra difficulties, as well as they just introduced the landscape difficulty slider, the group I've been running with has been doing those, as well as putting together a brand new lobby group. I've had the most fun in groups in the game over the last couple of weeks that I've had probably in the last few years with the changes they've been adding in.
Wait a minute.
So I had to bump it up a little bit. Well, we didn't have those things
playing outside of our groups. This is specifically your Pantheon Plus experience here.
No.
If you know more about the game,
No,
it hasn't been that way for any other stream.
It's pretty much your general overall knowledge of the game.
Don't tell Stans how to live his life. Don't tell Stans how to live his life.
It's not going to go well. It's not going to go well.
I was really curious how it was going to be just based on his experience with us, though. Now I'm sad that it's going to be colored in a more pastel color.
That's just more knowledge. Let's
more data.
If it was just his experience with us, it would just be full of rage.
You guys are eating. You guys are eating Stan's time. Let him talk.
Looking forward to it.
Let the man talk.
This is why the 3-minute timer can get eaten. Positives, multiple group sizes is nice. There's content out there for duo, 3, 6, and 12. So there's a variety out there. Negatives, man, the newer stuff is just much better designed than the older stuff. The older content absolutely shows its age. So C+, and that's an upgrade from my original.
All right.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Is he conceding the rest of his time? Is he?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can see the floor. No rollovers. No rollovers.
The upgraded grade is a C+.
No rollover.
Nathan Napalm, grouping in LOTRO.
Yeah, so grouping rating, first of all, I can only base this on our experience. Besides the other times I've played LOTRO in groups with Pantheon Plus and other times, this is the only grouping experience I've ever had. I understand it's old content, but that's all I got to judge it on, right? To me, it just didn't seem beneficial. It's almost like you're just doing it specifically to be with your friends. You're not getting any benefit out of it. The loot, most of all, mostly sucked. The experience was awful. So I didn't really... It was fun because I was playing with you guys and we had a purpose, right? But otherwise, I just wouldn't see a reason to do it. Also, there's a really bad balance and difficulty in the grouping and the rating. It's either it goes from like being so easy, it's a snore fest, to it's so hard you have literally no idea what's happening anymore. So I didn't feel like there was very much balance and difficulty either. I didn't enjoy... I enjoyed playing with you guys because it was funny and hilarious and we had a good time, but as far as the actual content goes, it had a few moments where I was like, that was cool, but overall, it wasn't impressive. I understand it's old content, but that's all I saw. So I'm giving it a D.
Yeah, the one dungeon that we did with the one boss that we beat was fun. That was my favorite one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That was
I
good.
know exactly which one you mean.
You mean the turtle?
No,
it had the
one with the bonfires, right?
Yeah, the bonfires. And
Yeah,
had the ghost guy. We had to tank some stuff. We had to mess some stuff, and then we had to mow down a group of stuff. Like that was the fun.
It took us like 5 tries, and then we were victorious.
Yeah.
I like the most about Nathan's answer is that it took 0 seconds off the clock.
Oh, did I not hit the button?
Dang.
You got so
Streamer
much free
privilege.
time. You could keep going.
Well, I was
he's-
definitely under. I was definitely under.
He's kind of a
You
big
were
deal.
right.
I
I'm
don't know
just
if you
kidding.
know
It's all
that.
good. It's all good.
Nathan cannot be restricted. All right,
Can't be
Sparoh,
controlled or contained.
you're on the clock,
All right.
and it's
All right,
actually
for-
started.
Grouping and rating. I didn't like that you couldn't really group to level. We had to do all this leveling separately because the dungeons didn't seem to give really adequate experience, and the gear. We really didn't get great stuff from there. I'm probably going to be alone in this, but I can't stand heavy mechanic raids. They drive me nuts. I am an old school tank and spank. If you have enough people, you should be able to kill it. So heavy mechanics I don't like. And there for me were too few dungeons in between. You felt like you were constantly having to level just to be able to get to the next one. And any of the skirmishes and things like that you could do just seemed heavily repetitive. We kept having to do the same ones over and over and over. So there wasn't much variety there, and the dungeons were too far spread out. So I gave it a C minus.
C minus. Oh, look at that. 2 minutes left on the timer. All
Wow.
that time. Yeah. How about you, man, Ryan?
Well, I'll give the grade at the end, so you can do your question marks and make it exciting.
I will.
So,
You said C minus, right, Sparoh? Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
So yeah, there it keeps getting reset. That's funny. I actually do like, maybe not heavy boss mechanics, but I do like boss. That's a plus for me. And that a healer is needed. I found that's another plus. That there's a lot of games where the healers are just like, okay, well, I'm healing, but not really. Having been a healer in a few places, it's you're doing things, but you don't feel a clutch, and that's a great feeling as a healer to like snatch someone from the jaws of death. And so I feel like healers were needed. I don't know what the healers felt like, but I feel like we needed them in a few places. We were dying fairly often, especially in that one where we just couldn't figure out the heavy boss mechanics of that stupid Balrog. And then, but on the negative side, the fights are mostly easy, except for a few. It's hard to see the targeted mob. Really hard to see the targeted mob, and the tab targeting is garbage. So those are just reading off what I wrote. There's plenty more, but I gave it a solid C.
Let's see. All right, I think I fixed my grading copying itself thing, so I think we're good on that. What about you, Crow? What did you think of grading and rating?
I'm going to go ahead and give it a C. I wanted, I don't mind mechanics really if they're done like in Vanilla Rift, say, but there were so many bugs and targeting was difficult that was an issue. I don't know that the whole not being able to group except under certain circumstances. I mean, we could do, I don't know what, skirmishes over and over again, but there's not a lot going on there. Just based on my experience of them, and I know we were pushing it in a way that it wasn't meant to be pushed, but still, just my experience, I would say a C.
All right. The great Venditti, what did you think? LOTRO, grouping and rating. I got it right just for Stands in the Fire.
You nailed it. You nailed it that time. What did I think? I liked the dungeons and the raids. I thought they had some good mechanics, so there was some good parts of that. I didn't really feel we needed to group though, other than when we grouped for the stream, which I never did when we were off stream. Kind of like some others said. I did missions. I did everything but grouping because I was in a limited time frame trying to just grind out levels to keep pace. What else did I have here? Yeah, just they were fun. It was good, but didn't group other than when we were streaming. So solid C.
Solid C. All right. What about you, Essen?
I thought it was aggressively average. Most of the early dungeons were not a lot of fun outside of hanging with the bros and ladies. But There's only one dungeon I actually liked. That was all the crazy staircases and that giant cave. That was pretty cool. But aside from that, like, it wasn't really a lot of fun. And like everyone said so far, there was no reason to do any dungeons. A lot of times when you killed a boss, they didn't drop any loot. They dropped like gold, which is not useful. And the lag in the dungeons was often kind of overbearing. And it just, I don't know. I have no desire to go back into a LOTRO dungeon. I guess that pretty much sums it up. So I gave it a C.
All right. What about you, Sarah?
I can keep this super brief and just say doors, mechanics, and bugs.
Yeah.
I gave it a C. The only reason it doesn't have a lower grade is because hanging with y'all was fun.
Fate. You guys are keeping this short. My timer is not being stretched here.
That's fine. We got a while to go.
I felt like I was being generous when I gave it a C. But I am also like, I'm kind of a sucker for like atmosphere and character to a dungeon, and the LOTRO dungeons actually do have a lot of like character to them, which I've definitely appreciated. I found a lot of them to be like interesting to go around in, even if a lot of the mechanics was kind of boring and pulling and like just the actual like combat in them was like pretty easy and not much to it, not much to go on. Every now and then you'd run into some mechanics, but that would be about it. But I really feel like they stuck to that feeling of like being in Lord of the Rings. So I gave it a generous C.
Generous C.
With C is generous.
We have an aggressive C and a generous C. All of our C's have emotions attached to them.
Oh yeah, his is the most generous.
And and then we have Mr. C as well. So
There you go.
in chat. So all kinds of stuff with our C's. What about you, Aaron Ellis? What did you think of LOTRO grouping and rating?
Most of this has already been said, so I don't think I have to repeat it. It was. I'll do my C as an apathetic C. There was nothing in there that really, as far as the grouping and rating goes, that really made you want to come back and do it again, to repeat it. It's a visually very pretty for an older game. But mechanically, the things that hook you in and make you have fun just aren't there. There's nothing. I don't know. There's nothing. And it's just like blah the whole way through. Blah.
All right. For myself, I gave it a C as well. I think we all pretty much, we're kind of all in that area. The C is just like, it's passable. We did dungeons. We went on adventures. We beat some bosses. We did some raids. Okay. You could do it, but as everyone else has said, why do it? It's not the focus of the game. And for me, if you're playing an MMO, the focus of the game should be grouping. And with a little bit of rating sprinkled into it. Like that for me, that's like the bread and butter. Otherwise, why, like, my whole question with LOTRO, and I'll probably get into it a little bit later, is like, why isn't this just a single player RPG? Like, why? I don't need other people in this game. So
it kind of was, I agree with that.
Yeah. So
I would like to request that from now on. I would like to request that from now on we give all of our scores an adjective.
I wanted to give my score a character description.
A character description. All right.
A profile, if you will.
Weedle2345. We did. I don't think, did we review SWTOR? Did we grade it, or did we just review it?
I like SWTOR except for the cash shop. Let's not get into that right now.
Oh, anyway, you can go back in the YouTube archives and find our SWTOR streams if you want. All right, so
that's way back.
It's been a while.
Hey, Draq, do you want to reverse the order and you go first again, so we don't do it the same order every time, or?
Sure. Yeah, let's do
Your
it.
call.
So
I
races,
like that idea.
races and classes. I gave this an A minus. It gets an A. It would have gotten an A plus, but they don't have wizards, so it gets an A minus. You just can't get much better than Lord of the Rings with races and classes, other than no wizard. Like it's got the Hobbit, it's got all the good stuff. So yeah, and I feel like they did the races and classes well. So yeah, A minus for me on races and classes.
I'm glad they didn't have a wizard, because wizards in Middle Earth aren't wizards like you see in other fantasies. They're not shooting fireballs, so they kind of sneakily went around that and made that other classes doing sort of that stuff, and they didn't try and tread on the wizard's feet.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't have been happy with that.
Mana Rohan would have thrown a fit.
I'm aware. I just on principle.
Oh God, this is the Balrog all over again. Oh my God.
I can't give it an A plus without a wizard. That's just standard. Aaron Ellis.
For the races and classes, I went in a totally different direction. I was like, everything about this game is just average and ordinary. It has to fit, I understand, into the context of the books and the universe that J.R.R. Tolkien created, but at the same time, there's got to be a little bit of wiggle room to make things interesting. And it's just the bland, everyday elves and hobbits and humans, and it's just, do something. Make it interesting somehow. And it wasn't there. I mean, I can't verbalize how average everything about this game is. So I gave it another C, because with the understanding that it does have to fit into the flavor of the genre and the theme of the game, they could have still done better.
There is a slight disclaimer that she did play the spear class that had to have a spreadsheet to figure out what she could do and not do.
That's true.
You picked like the hardest class to play.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, if you were gonna put me on camera, I had all my notes and my little cheat sheets ready in front of me to start tearing up and being like, "This is ridiculous."
Next to the mic so we can hear
Just
it.
do ASMR, yeah.
I tried. If you couldn't hear it over me talking, that's the best I got.
All right.
You want flying mounts, Ari? Would that have made it better?
No. I don't.
They would have been
Excuse me,
Balrogs.
because I put a piece of ice in my mouth. I wasn't expecting a follow-up question. Flying mount. Well, I take that back. If I could ride on the back of Smog, I definitely would.
Nice. So, we're gonna take a little side turn here because you brought up the Balrog. So we do have a special announcement for tonight that I went ahead and made a little merch for us. And if if you look on the stream.
Oh, nice.
Commemorating the Balrog and that we did not get past it.
I thought that was for the grading. You shall not pass.
Yes. And so I put the merch store link in the thing. So if you want to get your You Shall Not Pass MMO 101/201 hoodie, shirt, or fridge magnet, you are welcome to do so.
That's funny.
Good one.
That's hilarious.
All right. Fate. Races and classes.
Keeping with the adjectives, I gave a races and classes a respectable B. The classes were very like standard MMO fare, where you just had like a few abilities, you had your small little rotation you went through. But I still felt like so mechanically they weren't too interesting, but I still felt like they were fun. But like as far as the races and classes were concerned, it was also, again, I'm a bit of a sucker for the lore and stuff, and it's cool to see the creativity they had with, like, you've got your Bjornians, and you've got your captains, and your burglars, and then of course being able to play the different races. Not that there's very many of them, but still seeing all the lore accurate races in there. It was great. So a B.
Nice. Sarah.
I gave races and classes an acceptable A. And that is because I played the best class in the game. I played the Bard Healer, which was super fun, and I would play a Bard Healer in any game. I actually, first MMO character I ever made was a Bard in EQ, and the reason I didn't stick with that is because I couldn't manually weave the melody. So I ended up with a Ranger, but I would pick a Bard in any game, and I thought the Bard Healer was a super fun take on the Bard. I loved all the different instruments. I thought they were super cool. I thought it was fun to watch. I thought it was fun to hear. I thought it was fun to play. So that was the best thing about this game for me, hands down.
Nice. Essen?
I gave the races and classes an honest B. Because the developers had to work within the lore lines. So races, they're like hard capped on that, right? They had what they had. And for the classes, they did as well as job they could do. Like for the magic thing, like Runekeeper wasn't in the original game. They added that later. But before they had that, they were like, what do we do for magic? I don't know. Let's give a guy a staff and a sword like Gandalf, but like a pet, and he's going to be the debuffer and the crowd control. And also let's give him some melee and have him wear cloth. And also do some nuking and some AoE, but not do any of it well. Cool? Cool. Let's go with that.
Plus, you got to have a pet named Horrible, so there was that.
I did have a pet named Horrible. I don't think that's lore friendly at all, that pet. Lore Master class was the worst class I played in any MMO. It's okay to have like a mix of everything, but none of it went together. It was all just like a mess. And I have... I think I had 6 debuffs. Why? Why not just have like 2 or 3 debuffs and put them together? Like, why? Why have 6? No, that's not 6. It's 6 plus each debuff that each pet gives you. So you have to cycle through the pets at the same time. It was like dumb. But like some of the classes were cool. Like I know you guys are mocking the Warden, but like a class that uses just 6. Yeah. And only one buff.
Crow and I are laughing in Captain right now.
Yeah. Worse. Great. And then
you guys got buffs?
No, I only got 1 buff. I got like 6 or 7 debuffs. Probably I added to 9 or like 11 debuffs. And all of them are single target. And then what was it? I'm on timer. Oh god, a minute left. There's so much. Some of the classes were actually like really cool. Like the Bard was really cool. The Warden, I know you guys are making fun of that, but a class with Spear and Javelin, I would play it in a heartbeat, no matter how stupid it was.
You could have. Sorry. He always was the worst class.
I am committed to the worst class, and Lore Master, like, wow, did it exceed my expectations.
I think you're talking yourself down from a B to something lower.
No, because I respect what they did within the lines. They did the best that they could have done, and then figured out like, okay, this Lore Master thing, like, we need a magic class. This is not cutting it. Let's bring in the Runekeeper. Like, all right, it really does magic. I couldn't do it before. Like, AJ, he uses rocks, so we're cool, right? We're cool. All right, go.
He throws bees.
Yeah, I throw bees. It was stupid. I throw a pine cone that was lit on fire as my primary attack. It's like it was like a prank. It's. Anyways, so I gave it a B because they worked hard within the lines that they had, but God, that was a bad class. B for bad.
All right. So $2 Bill asks, "Where's the PvP section?"
Oh my
For
god!
For LOTRO, is there even PvP in this game?
There's that monster versus player thing.
Oh, monster versus player. Yeah, we didn't do any PvP. So when we don't actually do anything, I don't add that as one of the things. We do have previous grading sessions of other games that had PvP in them that we did grade the PvP, like ESO. recently. Warhammer. Yeah.
Dark Age.
Dark
Warhammer,
Age,
gotta do
Camelot.
Warhammer,
Yep.
yeah.
All those we graded the PvP. But
I
not
logged in for about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes on the Monster Play one day just to see, and ran into absolutely nobody.
Yeah.
It was empty.
Nice.
So,
All right. Well, Vendini, races classes.
Well, for Vindini, the healer, he gets a triple F minus. But for the actual races and classes, I thought, fit the lore of the LOTRO or of the Lord of the Rings universe pretty well. So I was pretty happy with that. What else can you do? As far as the minstrel went, pretty solid healer, good mobility, great variety of heals, bubbles, hots. Like I had a lot of tools in my toolkit. I didn't feel like I didn't have something to reach for when I needed it. Like Mana Rohan said, I felt needed when I wasn't dirt napping myself. I felt needed. What else did I have to say? Reading my notes here.
I didn't start the timer. It's bad.
Oh boy, now I gotta start over.
Someone else needs to do the timer.
Lots of the healing abilities, and I can't speak to anybody else's, but they had lots of other things tied on to them. So a good minstrel would string those together to get benefits from all of them, and a bad minstrel like Vindini would face roll the keyboard and try to heal everybody. So I got a B+, a bubbly B+.
A bubbly B+.
I would like to note that Vin kept me alive.
well done.
Stats needed very little healing.
So you're saying that Sarah didn't keep you alive? I see.
Crow, what do you think of races and classes?
Races I give an A because lore. It's just a lot of fun to kind of go through the world and the whole high elf starting area was just really the great intro that fit in with the class, the race and that sort of thing. For classes, I don't really like melee. I don't like it. So why was I playing a captain? That's a good question. But the thing is, I enjoyed it, which is really kind of out of this world for, swinging a sword around. I thought it was a lot of fun. I was a monster buff machine. I had a lot of tools to use to just toss lots of little helps to people and areas of goodness. So I just felt really helpful, and there was a lot to juggle, and I had a good time with that. I've also played Minstrel, and I thought it was a really fun class. I would have to agree with Hassan about Lore Master, but I'm going to give classes an A just based on my experience during this, exercise, staying within the boundaries. The captain was a lot of fun, and it had no right to be.
Well said.
Also, I want to mention this because it's really important. I have an ability that can make all of my friends bow before me.
Yes. Nice.
That
happened.
And you didn't abuse it.
That happened, yeah, every once in a while. At least once a stream when we were raiding.
Some of those may have been me, not Crow.
Okay. Sorry, I got confused about which captain was making us bow.
I'm surprised we didn't all suddenly die for no reason that we had no idea. Just for sheer frustration.
We're busy bowing. It's important.
All right, Man Rohan, races and classes.
Well, I never play a human, and I did. I thought I'm gonna, for the first time, well, except for a monk in EQ, because that was the only thing I could do at that point. But I never play a human because I'm already a human. I don't want to. I'd rather be something else. So when I'm playing a game, so I did play a human, and the backstory was okay. The elfin is much better. The halfling one is much better. especially because you get to start in the Shire. Well, generally start in the Shire, which is the best place to start, in my opinion. But there were decent stories and settings for all generally, and I thought the lore was cool. I thought experiencing some of the, as you're following the main story, from the Lord of the Rings story, you're following it a bit. You get to see other rangers walking around and getting overtaken by not Nazgul, and so I really enjoyed that part. But that was that was just the fun part, and I think that they did a great job. The makers of the game did an amazing job of keeping to the lore, as Essen said. But I agree with that were too many skills. Most of what I was doing, I had no reason to choose less than just hit a bunch of buttons. Why not hit these? Because as long as I had enough, I can't remember my resource that I used, but fervor. As long as I had enough fervor, just keep building up fervor, and I can just use the crap out of my skills, which was really helpful when I was on my own. But in groups, it was a little meaningless. I felt like I didn't know if I'm good or not, because because if I would have had some sort of little parser to see what my DPS was, maybe I would have felt better about it. But for the most part, I felt a little like, well, I'm in the group and I'm having fun just talking with people, but actually really kind of being able to dig into my class was not the greatest experience. But I did like the shing-shings. There were some fun sounds, and and I got a couple of yells, and that was cool. But out there, so I gave it a C after all of that. So
wow,
yeah, I'm a hard grader. Look at the rest of the A's and B's, you guys.
it's a
Jeez.
lot of A's. It's a lot of A's.
Well, I don't
Yes.
I don't know about everybody else, but I had to grade this section high so I could destroy it in other places. Sparoh, you're up next. Races and classes.
All right. Well, like everyone said, it's true to lore, and I really love that. It's super immersive. You feel like you're in the books, in the story. So that bumps it up for me. I thought the classes that I've played, my main one this time being the Hunter, which is my favorite class. It's the high DPS. It's got almost like porting, but they don't call it porting. You can take your whole group places. It's just a great class to play. So I found the Rune Keeper was fun. I enjoyed the Lore Master playing it solo. I've never raided or anything with it, but I like a lot of the classes that I've played. There's varying difficulties to play the different classes, so I think that's pretty cool. If you're a new player, Hunters are super easy to play. Just aim and shoot. And then all the way to, is it the Warden? What is the one that Aerie played?
Yeah,
you got it.
Yeah, Warden. That one's really difficult to play. So you got all in between. So for me, that bumps it up to an A, and it's a cheerful A.
Cheerful.
70 A's.
Yeah,
Cheerful
I
A.
really
Wow.
enjoy all the different classes.
Oh shoot, I forgot the superlative.
I really enjoyed all the classes. Asterisk.
Mr. Nathan Napalm, races and classes.
All right. So I think that because this is Lord of the Rings, it makes it became definitely a powerful tool, and everybody, oh, what a great MMO Lord of the Rings would make in Middle Earth, which is true, except for it's also at a cost. To stay true to the lore, the classes are strange. Everything is strange, actually, but the classes they're bizarre. If you hadn't played a lot of other MMOs and Lord of the Rings was like your first MMO or whatever, it probably wouldn't seem so bad. But as someone coming from other MMOs, it's weird. It's really freaking, everything is weird.
Thank you.
I do give it a lot of respect, though, for taking the hard road, which is staying true to J.R.R. Tolkien and things that make sense in that world and should be there. Huge respect for doing that. But staying true to the lore, this is one of those rare cases where it limited the fun a little bit. Who doesn't want to be Gandalf, right? Everybody wants to be Gandalf. So, like, I understand, like, it's
Like
hard to
making
do
a
that.
Star Wars
Doesn't
game
make
without
lot
a
of sense.
Jedi.
Exactly. It's just like, it's kind of like you have these dreams of what you would like to do in Lord of the Rings Online, and so does a ton of other people. But because of the way the world is set up, either you have to go the Amazon route, which I believe is what they'll do, where you just say, screw the lore, let's just do something that we think people would like to do, or you do what LOTRO did. So even though that does hurt it, huge respect for doing that, because that was the best thing to do to make it like Lord of the Rings and not like everything else. So I give it a lore accurate, even at its own peril, B.
That doesn't start with a B.
No, that's his description. That's his
It might be
description.
does in several languages, I'm pretty sure.
Best they
Just
could
say-
do.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know we were supposed to do alliteration here too.
Dan's, you're up.
No one said it.
All
was.
right. So mine's gonna be quick. Like everybody else has mentioned, we have the kind of iconic Middle Earth races and a lot of archetypes from the books represented as classes in the game, and they play to those strengths. But then they also have things that bend that pretty dang hard, like the Runekeeper. And I say that loving the Runekeeper. The Runekeeper is my kind of second main next to my champion. But it's a little weird in Middle Earth to be thrown around fire and lightning willy-nilly, just like 4 other people next to you. It's a thing. So I give this a fond B.
So it's like a fondue.
And Essen, just for you, because you'll appreciate this, in our new highest difficulty lobby group that we're starting up, I'm playing a lore master.
Oh God, help me. Why?
Because I love the class and I hate
is
it
a
at the
fun
same
class.
time.
I definitely get half of that, but yeah.
All right. Well, for Theric, he gave it an A. Races and classes, why not both? I will always remember my days as a maniacal bear. Swipe to win.
Bear that can pull.
Theric's class was super powerful. So
Well, listen, speaking of lore-friendly races, Bjornings aren't a race. It's one dude. That's it. And he had a
Listen.
son, which was not all Bjorning, was an all shapeshifter. It's just a really strong man.
Not all
This is why-
Beornings.
This is why I gave them a B. They're stretched it to their limit to try to make it cool. They really tried.
all right, that moves us on to quests. Theric gave quests a B plus. The big story quests are fantastic and epic. The lesser quests feel generic and boring. Quests. Stans, what do you think of quests?
So quests and LOTRO, and Theric kind of nailed it. And my comment that I will add here is that it is entirely dependent on if you are playing to immerse yourself in the world or if you're playing to, group and grind and level like an older MMO. If you are a player that likes, lore and story quests and you just want to live in the world, they're great. If not, you're going to hate them with a fiery passion. And so that is a hard dividing line. I like that, so I gave them a B minus. Even for me, a lot of them can be very wordy. But they do a really good job of establishing the tone of what's going on in the world as you play through the various portions of the game.
So would you say that's a wordy B minus?
I would say it's a whoever wrote the quests needed a copy editor almost as badly as JRR did.
That's true.
B minus.
I would say it's a bewildered B minus.
A bit with
Oh,
B minus.
bewildered.
Nice.
Baffling?
Or befuddled. even.
Befuddled.
A lot of
Befuddled.
B words. A lot of B confusion words.
All right, Nathan Napalm, questing. This should be good.
Yeah, so I want to say this. Not this time, okay? Because this time we had to get levels so that we could be the right level so we could do the dungeon, okay? But normally, when I play Lord of the Rings, I just do quests. And yeah, there's a lot of words to read. I like that. I like Lord of the Rings because I read the books. So I'm not shocked that there's a lot of reading. And they're well written. And there are a lot of random side quests that turn out to be something fantastic, where you'll meet like Smeagol, or like just crazy stuff, or like a Hobbit where you end up in this weird party and then you end up drunk and they throw you on some way over on some other weird side of the map. You have to find your way back as a low level character. There's a lot of really interesting and cool quests everywhere. There's so many of them. Of course, there's going to be some that are a little, boring. Go kill that. Cool. Thanks. The end. But overall, the quests in this game are actually, if you deep dive into them, if you just take your time, you're not worried about leveling up and how fast you can get to max level, etc., they're really good. I think it's really well written. I think that the characters like Gandalf, etc., they sound like things that they would really be saying. It's kind of a behind-the-scenes kind of look at things that happen from the books. I love that zones are stuck in their own kind of time period from the books. I think there's a lot of exciting places and characters that you meet from questing. Questing is the best part of the game, in my opinion. If you play this game, you just run around, you quest and have fun and just enjoy it, dude, you could play this game for thousands of hours if you love Lord of the Rings, and you would never run out of content. It's astounding, actually. So I would say this is probably the best quests in any MMO ever, in my opinion. I give it a sacred, legendary A++. Triple A plus. It's the best. It's the best quest.
Wow.
I think it's the best quest.
I
ever.
did not see that coming.
Ascending.
I did not see that coming.
That's the
And
only thing I
ascending
like about
A+.
this game. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
It is about to get awkward. Fate is
Sparoh.
ready.
How are you going to follow that up, Sparoh?
All right. So I would totally agree with Nathan if that's how we were playing this time around. So as a group, trying to level and play together so that we could do dungeons and raids. I did not like that we could not really quest together. A lot of them are solo. It's if I was rating it on the solo play, which we've done before, it would get a much higher grade. But in this circumstance, I was not happy with it. The group questing was minimal, and anything that we did, like say with skirmishes and things like that, was just super repetitive. So there isn't a lot of things for groups to do. So it gets a C-. If it was the overall questing, I would totally agree with Nathan. I love the lore. I love the world. It would get an A for that. But for grouping and rating, the way we did it this time, it's no good.
No good from Sparoh.
No good.
All right, Mana Rohan, you are on the
Yeah,
clock.
what's up? Okay, so I only have a minute 54. Okay, gosh. Like, oh no, I've got a lot to say. So the main story quests were super fun. I think Nathan hit it. I agree that all the solo stuff, the main story stuff, loved living that part of the second life of someone who's kind of just following along and going to Rivendell, going to all these places that you imagine in your head and get to see someone else's vision of it, and hearing about the things that you can do to assist. And I don't know, it's just fun. It's definitely my favorite part. I take that back. My almost favorite part. The Moria quests were my absolutely favorite of this playthrough. I loved the whole setting. I loved going through the different parts of Moria. That's one of my most wanted to experience places from the beginning of when I read it when I was young. I'm like, I wish this was just living, I wish it was lit up and not filled with evil things and Balrogs without wings. And and a lot of, but what really brings it down, and I realize this is not unique to Lord of the Rings Online. It happens in a lot of games, but there are way too many. Kill these 10 things and turn them in, and then go right back to the exact same place you were just at and kill these other things, or kill that boss you just killed. Yep. Kill that named guy you just killed, because I need him to crap, I gotta go back and wait for the stupid, anyway. There's other words in my head, but I'll be nice about it. So that was very annoying enough that I gave this a C. Ooh. So those kind of things just were really prevalent. And
So
I agree
harsh.
I agree with Sparoh that unless I was doing a story quest, the rest of the quests in the groups especially were just the skirmishes and all that were just so repetitive that I'm like, okay, I've got to go and fight these dwarves again in the same train tracks, and I've got to do the same blow up the rocks to let these things out. And okay, I'm done. I'm done with this. Can I please get my level so I can just get out of here? So much so that I bought XP potions so I wouldn't have to experience that as much, which I hate doing. I hate using cash outs for that kind of thing, but I'm just like, I was tired of it. So C, there you go. A curmudgeonly C.
Dude.
Oh yeah, mine was a crotchety
I think we
C.
should have a stream
Love
where
crotchety.
Mana Rohan goes back and grades all the other games. I want to see his grade on F-Word Online.
Oh gosh.
F word.
Cro-
F word online. I
Crow-
love that.
Crow Singer, what do you think about quests?
Well, like it's been pointed out, there's two parts to this. One is the normal MMO style quests and the lack of much at all to do while grouped. And that gets a C. But on the other hand of this, there is the story quests. And I did do some of them during all this, But I wanted to explore that a little bit, and I loved what I found there. That part gets an A. So, it made me want to go back and enter this game as just myself. Pick a class I really like, really want to play, Minstrel, I think. And just go through the story, and nothing else, as if I can help it. And just do that. That's it. It inspired me to want to do that. And so that part of it gets an A. So I'm going to go with B in between those two.
All right.
And I have a little time left, so yeah, there's really just not good group design, and I can give them a little bit of a pass because it was still the very early days of group design. This was 3 years after WoW came out, or 2 years or 1 year, something. Anyway, it just wasn't that long after people started writing content for groups. Vanguard came out the same year and was essentially an updated EQ by intention. So I can give them a pass for some of the poor group design at the time. But when it came to story design for a player, I think they really nailed it.
Nice.
Nice.
Vindini?
Holy flippin' amount of quests in this game. If you cannot find a quest to do in this game, you are not looking, or your computer is turned off, or I don't know, because there is 80 gajillion quests in this game.
The completionist dream.
Yeah, the questing is very much a single player experience, in my opinion, as some has also stated. The story or book quests or whatever they're called, amazing. Those are great. Love those. The other quests are just run of the mill, like Mana Rohan said, kill 10 things. Now go back to the area you were just in and kill these other 10 things that were beside these 10 things you just killed, but you had to do it later. Yeah, there's just nothing special except for the book. Like the book story quest, that's what made this grade higher than it would have been. So I give it a, I don't know, some kind of C.
Confused?
I'm kind of C.
A confused C.
Confused C.
Confused C.
Kind of.
All right. There we are, confused C. Essen, quests.
I'm gonna give SWOTOR an A+ on quests, and because what they did is they had each
what?
like
Wait, are we on the wrong page?
Switch.
Wait a minute.
yeah, surprise. So what SWOTOR has is they have like each planet is like kind of a zone, and they have the main story for your class and a main story for like the planet. and a whole bunch of side quests, which are exactly what Man Around is talking about. Like, go here, do this, go here, do this, go here, do this, fall asleep, whatever, who cares? What they did was they made it so you could level up entirely by doing the class quest alone. So you could level up from 1 to cap with just the good, fun, interesting story quests. And if you did that for Lord of the Rings, like, sure, it would cut out all the bad quests. But yeah, it would cut out all the bad quests. So that would be amazing, because the bad quests were so bad. And, like, go here, do what you just did, but do it again, but kill the guy you just killed again, but this time kill 10 of them. Like, I don't care. Nobody cares. It was just a boring quest hub over and over again. And the quest hubs made, like, where it's like, yeah, great quest. Every 6 miles, I had to trudge through, crap to get to it. It just wasn't fun, and I hated it. And I just didn't want to do it. And missions gave you more experience anyways. So I had every incentive not to do the quests. So I didn't. And so I gave the quests an F minus minus minus.
Ooh.
That's just
Very
one
brave of
minus.
you.
Let's do 1 minus.
No, I have written down F minus minus minus. I'm sticking to it.
The rules state that F triple minus is equal to garbage. So
Yes. G, please.
Sarah.
Oh, you guys. Okay, I'm gonna summarize this very easily for you. Lore versus quest hubs. And I will also add to that very briefly that I agree what's been said. Like, if you are just playing the story and just doing the quest, there are some really fun quests that you can do, and it's really immersive, and the storyline and everything is really enjoyable. However, even take it out the fact that
Nathan.
Somebody died.
We just lost 2 people
Nathan.
off video.
Who's 2?
Sorry, I broke it. Kicked me out. I was too quiet for too long. Sorry.
Mom, get
So-
off the phone.
So you like take. Now I totally lost my train of thought. All right,
I restarted your timer. You're good to go.
I just lost my train of thought. Take out the fact that we were trying to like level at a certain pace to keep up with the schedule and everything. When Esther and I first started playing, we were not doing that. We just wanted to play the game to start playing the game together, and we still were out leveling the quests, just doing the quests.
So fast.
Yeah, like it was still designed so poorly that we had to skip a bunch of stuff and didn't know where we were supposed to go, and like lost the story and lost what was happening because there were too many. Like it didn't flow. It was like, okay, I've played here for however long, but I didn't get to do all the things anyway because it wasn't designed well enough that it had like led me through it at a pace that worked with the way that they designed it. So it wasn't even just because we were trying to keep up with the raid schedule or the dungeon schedule. It was not designed well to move you through the game either. So I was frustrated with it before we were even trying to keep up with the schedule. The only thing that I liked about the quest was the lore. Everything else about it, the quest hubs and the way that they didn't pace it well, was not good. So I gave it a B because the lore really pulled it up for me. Talking about it kind of makes me wish I'd given it a C. You can change it to a C. Give it a C.
Frustrated C.
Yeah, not a B. I changed my
A
mind.
C
It's
that could have been a B.
It could have been. It was.
Could have been.
If they had just paced it better, it would have been a B for me. But
C. It's like what C's for caterpillar. That could have been a B for butterfly.
Fate. Quest.
So I need to preface this a little bit. I'm someone who loves RPGs. I play games for the story. And to me, a good story can carry mediocre gameplay. However, there is a point where it stops mattering how good the story is if I have to do something that's the equivalent of solving several quadratic equations before I get to the next part of the story, as far as like entertainment wise. Then like it gets old very quickly. And that was these quests for me. They were the worst type of just MMO chores. Just, it's been said a few times, just, go over here, interact with these 5 objects, kill these 10 guys, and then go back, and then go back again, and then go back again, and then go to this other town, and then that town sends you back to the town you were just at, and then you go back to the second town again, and it's just over and over again. Even the main storyline quest in Moria, I was doing the main storyline quest, and it was all backtracking. It was just constantly going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to talk to the same characters over and over again. And it was terrible. It was a terrible slog, and it stopped mattering how good the story was, how good the lore was, when I just felt like I was having to do chores over and over again in my game that's supposed to be fun and entertaining and lighthearted. So it gets a disrespectful F from me.
Ooh.
Wow.
I want
And
to find
Essen's
an F
quite
word
right.
that goes with that.
Those trial and error puzzles in the middle of dungeons that Essen mentioned
Oh.
are awful.
Oh my
Yeah, I-
god.
Those
I
were
hate
awful.
those.
See, I don't consider those
Facetious.
quests. I just consider it
Facetious
part of
F.
raiding.
No, as part of the raid. I know, it should have been in the raid. Like, you're doing
Yeah.
a raid boss that we're struggling with, and surprise, there's a puzzle that there's no, like, clues. It's just good luck.
Good
You
luck.
gotta die several times to solve the puzzle.
Solve the
Well, and
puzzle,
as we
it's
learned-
halfway through the fight.
It was a red herring because Stans went there with his other group and they just blew through. They just stayed on the Balrog and blew through it.
Ugh.
They just burned him down and they didn't even do the puzzle. Right?
Well, the
Isn't
real
that right?
puzzle-
We had the DPS for it, which
Yeah.
our group didn't.
The real puzzle was that we
What?
needed to get gear.
Yeah, that was part of our problem.
Doing dungeons didn't give us.
Which, yeah, doing dungeons. How do you make a
Like,
game where dungeons don't give you gear? How?
Isn't that
How? It's the whole
truly
point.
MMO 101? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Ari,
Get good gear.
get
Okay, so do you want to play Essence Sea Shanty first?
You don't have to. I don't.
Oh
think
no,
we're
we'll
gonna
do a
ignore
sea
it.
shanty. Yeah, let's break it up a bit. Here we
We
go.
need some cheer.
Sea shanty break.
Soon may the Pantheon come to bring us friends and MMO fun. One day when the beta is done, we'll all log in and go.
Can I get a real life? Can I get a real
Now
life?
that
more?
everybody is smiling.
Yeah, bring
All right.
us right back down, Ari.
Yeah, all right. So my take on the quest. I didn't do a lot of them because I was trying to level so fast to catch up with everybody. I did just enough to get me to the missions, and then the entire rest of the time, all I did was missions to level up.
Yeah.
There were so many quests on the way there, like you guys had mentioned. You can't do them all. You outlevel them way too fast. What's the point in all this side quest bloat? It's ridiculous. There's
Bloat's a good
no
word.
reason to have that many quests if you're going to outlevel them that fast. And there's just... I mean, you can get the little turtle thing if you want to pay money and turn off your experience so you can do all the side quests. But really, you shouldn't have to pay money to turn off your experience to be a completionist and complete the quest hubs. It's just why? Just why are there so many quests? And I like quests, but there are too many quests. It's ridiculous. And then there's no reason to do them. The rewards aren't that great. The experience isn't that great. It's just for the people who love the lore and maybe here and there. And the rest of it is just trash. So now
Well
that my
said.
rant is over, I give
Well
it
said.
a D.
Cheers. Cheers.
Harry sums up my LOTRO experience. Just
I
why?
think we need a soundboard of all of Aries' grunts and growls
There was a
about.
lot.
I thought those were her grades. Can you not put that in the grade?
Well-
I want to hear. We've got to play a real trash game. I want to hear Ari go off on it.
None of you were here for Fractured Online, so
You said the F word.
Oh, I was here for those days.
Yeah,
Those
we
are
were
dark-
here.
those are
I
some
was
dark
here,
days.
Gandalf.
I've seen hell, and it was awful.
All right, are you guys ready for this? I got 3 minutes. Go. All right, this is awful questing. Awful. It's horrible. And somebody said, I forget, maybe it was Essence. Somebody said, would you like the quests in this game if it didn't have Lord of the Rings characters attached to it? And the answer is no. They would be horrible. These quests would be awful. If I wasn't going to Hobbiton which in my mind already, I'm picturing Hobbiton of the Lord of the Rings movie, and like the actor that plays Frodo is standing there and I'm greeting him in my mind. Like, these quests would be horrible. They're awful. And the only reason that they're passable in my mind is because I love Lord of the Rings and I love Tolkien. And so I can't rate it horrible because I can't do that to LOTRO. I can't do that to the
yes, you can.
Oh,
Yes,
oh
you
no,
can.
I
Yes,
did
you
it.
can.
Oh no, I
Come
did
to
it.
the dark
We will
side.
It gets a triple F minus. It does.
Yay!
Because it's I refuse to let the Lord of the Rings IP shroud my grading, which would be the only reason that I would give it even a semi-passable grade of any kind. The question, I paid, I think it was $9, so I could do one mission over and over and over and over again, so I could avoid the questing. Like, that's
One mission.
One mission.
A set of missions.
No, it was one
mission.
set of missions. So it was 10
Was it
missions
one set? Okay.
that I used to
Still,
level up
But still.
over and over. Every day I would log in and do my 10 missions, which would get me about a level. And that's how I leveled up, because I refused to do the questing because it was so awful. So
Let me ask a question.
Yes.
To the group. If you knew nothing about Lord of the Rings and you played this game as your first experience of Lord of the Rings, would you be a Lord of the Rings fan?
Yes, I would.
Mm-hmm.
See, here's what I think's happened here. We played this game all wrong. So the quests are designed to be for people who are so in love with Tolkien and Middle Earth that you just stay in an area, regardless of level. You don't care about levels. You just stay there. So, like, if you run those Shire quests, I have no idea how you wouldn't love them unless you just don't like to read at all. There is some really good quest design in this game. I was upset this entire playthrough because I couldn't quest. I had to do the missions. The missions are freaking awful, but they give good XP, which is what we needed.
I think we go back to Stanza's thing, which is like, do you want to read a novel and experience a story, or do you want to do quests? And I don't consider a single player RPG story a good questing system in an MMO. I just don't. I don't want that in any MMO I play. I'm not interested in reading a story.
I even disagree with that. I love the stories in RPGs, but this game had too much quest bloat, like Ari said. Like, even when we were trying to do the stories and trying to play through it, not to keep up with the schedule, I still couldn't do it and play at a pace that felt like it made sense. Like, we were out leveling everything. We didn't get to experience stuff. We had to jump around so that we could try to be in an area that, like, we were level appropriate for. So no, it didn't work.
It's old now. It's really old now. So
Yeah,
right.
That's hurt it too.
I also have to disagree because, like, it just like because I leveled up exclusively through the quest. I did nothing but quests to level up.
I'm so sorry.
And it just was such a huge, like, it was just the same exact quest after the same exact quest, with the only difference between them being like the words used to describe them, and it was not like there was nothing interesting about the quests themselves. It was just the descriptions attached to them.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit are some of my favorite books, like of all time. There aren't very many that I would put above that. And reading is my second favorite hobby. And I still hated leveling up in this game. Still.
Yeah.
But maybe I missed there because there were so many quests, maybe I missed the cool ones.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that are just lame, but I always felt in Lord of the Rings you can tell from what the quest is if it sucks, and I just won't do those, right? If I'm playing by myself. Because you can tell, because it'll be like something about a hog or something like go kill some pigs, and you're like, well, this is obviously not going to be a good quest, so I'm not going to do this one.
Right.
Well, if you have to hunt around and find the good quests, then it's a crappy questing system.
Pretty brutal.
If you have to like
yeah, I think
run around and
we're just
go
judging them on different parameters, right? Like I'm judging mine based on the good quests I've seen in the game, which are some of the best quests I've ever seen in a game. But there is
so
a
a small
lot
percentage of the quests are really, really good, and all of the rest of the quests are crap. That means the quests are all crap.
I mean, that's your opinion. In my opinion,
you get up with fleas.
In my opinion, I see it as they added a ton of quests at some point in the game. I mean, we're doing old content, right?
We are doing old content.
They had to have a bunch of quests to help you level because there was no missions. That was added way later, and that was not meant for players' first tunes to do. It's meant for like a catch-up mechanic for a secondary tune or what have you. So like. They at one point they needed a bloat of quests for leveling up, and they just never took them out. Now, should they take some of that bloat out now? Yeah, they probably should, but I think they served a purpose at one point.
All right, we got to get back on track. Well, I lost control of my timer, but I wasn't the one talking.
But you were the last one to talk.
My take was too spicy for some people, so it's fine.
Your take was correct.
So the next one is fun. How much fun did we have playing the game? I gave this a C-. For fun. I had fun. It's not the worst MMO we've ever played, but it's really average. If you take out the Lord of the Rings piece of it, ooh, this game is rough, super rough.
Man.
The doors. That part's just unacceptable. The real one of the real drags for me is the freezing, and I don't know where everybody put this part. I'm sure everybody's going to mention this, and maybe in different places, but where the screen just lagged for no reason whatsoever. It lags in dungeons, it lags in questing, it lags in town, it lags in missions. Like it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing, or if there's things on the screen or not things on the screen, your screen just hitches, and it drives me crazy. Especially because this is an old game, right? And I feel like my graphics card shouldn't freeze up and lag like it, and it's awful, and it kills me. So C- for me. There you go.
All right. So for this one, I kind of broke it down into two categories. If I was playing this game by myself, the fun would be rock bottom. But because I wasn't for the majority of the time I playing by myself, I was playing with you guys. Y'all are what made it fun. So I really enjoyed playing it with you, even though I jumped in last minute and kind of rushed in. It was fantastic, and I enjoyed every minute of my Tuesday nights, even the frustrating parts. So for the fun grade, I put a B. My highest grade for this game.
The group gets an A+ and the game gets an F.
Yes, which averages out to a B in airy math.
In airy math, fate, fun.
So I graded it a C. There is fun to be had in this game. You just have to pick up some rocks and carry them over for a dwarf. a few dozen times, and then eventually you'll find the fun under one of the rocks. You know, I can't. It's not the first time I've heard, like, not just tonight, but other times that, like, oh, we played the game wrong, and I have to really disagree with that because, like, especially for myself, like I said, I only quested. I played the game exactly how it was intended. It was like going through all these quests and going through this main storyline and leveling up as you go. And it was, you really had to hunt around and force yourself to have fun. And the dungeons were fun and the classes were interesting, but otherwise it was mostly you digging through a bunch of the bargain bin to find the cool movie at the bottom.
That's a good metaphor.
I didn't get a grade, or I missed it.
That's a good.
You put it down.
Oh, C. Oh, sorry. I was looking at the Sarah's grade.
It's not a metaphor.
Perfect.
Whatever it is. That is a metaphor.
Is there a third of Sarah on the list now?
There's
keep
three.
adding
There's so many of Sarahs.
3 Sarahs. Let me tell you, there's only one of Sarah. And thank
too
God.
many of Sarahs.
That's
There's
Sarah.
only one.
First of all, I just want to say that the accountant in me was very curious about this since this was a hot topic. And our average score for questing is a D. FYI. Now, back to the score. Okay, so fun. I gave this a B, and the only reason it scored so highly is because I got to hang out with you guys every week. And despite despite how painful I found the game to be, honestly, the only thing I liked about playing this game every week was playing with you guys, which was like A++, and the Bard Healer, which was also an A. Everything else about the game, like every week when it was time to play to level up so that we could be on schedule, was like, here we go again.
Mr. C just said in chat, LOTRO did give us polls and the HR lady.
That's true.
Yeah, I pinned that immediately.
I'm not sure that was LOTRO. That was Essen and I arriving in the 101. That gave you that.
No, I will say, like, the worse a game is, I think the more fun we have with it. We had a lot of fun with LOTRO.
That's true. We had fun playing that 2D Dungeons and Dragons with Daimlos that night.
Yeah.
Yeah, see?
There you go. Essen, fun.
No.
Not a grade.
No. Oh, this had like the same problem that a lot of old games have, where it's just like systems on top of systems on top of systems. This is like the one area I give WoW credit, where they'll just go in and redo everything, so you don't have it's not like doing archaeology where you have like 30 layers of rock, right? Everything's just like streamlined. I don't think we could have played this game nearly as effectively without Stans. He was like a living encyclopedia. Without him, we would have been so lost. We were lost with him, but without him, oh my God, we would have been completely useless.
We were doing raids as dungeons. That's how lost we were. And it didn't like put up a thing and said, "Are you sure you want to do that?"
Yeah. The first raid we totally failed. The second raid we did by accident, we did pretty well, I think, honestly. It was just, there's just so many things that like Stans had to like jump in and say, actually, blah, 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 and he was right.
I have a lot of follow-up thoughts on that, but it's going to go into my second category. Yeah, I'm going to save it till it's my turn again.
Yeah. So I gave it a D for do not fun.
Essen English is good.
Muy good.
Me fail English, impossible.
I forgot to give my grade an epithet.
Oh, that's right.
So I guess mine would be C for chores.
Oh, there you go. That's good.
That's good.
Vendini, fun.
Well, that's something. Yeah. As my far superior healing counterpart already stated, the fun part for me was hanging out with you guys. The fun part was that was it. That's all I got on fun. That's just hanging out with you guys. The minstrel is a fun class to play, as she said too. This game really failed to get any kind of hook into me, other than when we had to play on stream. I didn't really like, when you get a new game and you get into a new MMO and you want to play and you want to level and you want to see what next skill is. That went away pretty quick. Again, playing with the group or playing with you guys and the minstrel's a fun class to play, but that's about it. A C. I don't know, some kind of C again.
Some kind of C. That's a really true feeling where like that feeling goes away is not a good sign.
Feeling goes away. It's so good. Pro.
This is a hard one. Like everybody else said, it's the group, really. I had fun with the group. I had fun with the class. Even if I was swinging a sword around, I had a lot of fun with Captain. Doesn't mean I ever want to play Melee again, but, it was
Nobody
fun.
puts Crow in a box, okay, people? Nobody puts Crow in a box.
But I've been thinking, when a couple of people said something about what would it feel like if you had approached this game knowing nothing about Lord of the Rings? How would the game seem to you then? And I honestly don't know. I don't know if I would like it very much, to be honest. But yeah, I think maybe a C, because again, we weren't playing it the way it was supposed to be played, apparently, and I really didn't care for the dungeons, but the group and the captain were fun. That's all I'm going to say. It's a C. Kind of a cringeworthy C.
Cringeworthy, yes.
Cringy C.
All right, Man of Brohan. Fun.
Yeah, I guess it is a hard one because it's hard to say something bad about a world that you love a lot and say anything bad about it when it comes to fun. Like, you're supposed to have the most fun you've ever had here, right? Aren't you supposed to?
As the Man of Rohan, you should have fun in the Lord of the Rings.
Right. There were a lot of I would say the game part was the not the fun part for me. Definitely the quests and stories that we've already mentioned that. But I love the Shire starting area. It's the best starting area in any starting area I've ever been to.
Amen.
Yeah, so it's just the music and the way that you're looking at the countryside and the people that you meet and the silly little things they have you do. And actually, I think the little fetch quests and dumb little things in there, like you can become a bounder, and just be a little or a sheriff or whatever. And you can just go across the countryside and talk to little hobbits, and it's just great. I love it. Moria, I mentioned already. I loved every single bit of it, even the dumb go kill these things quests. I had a perfectly fun time the entire time I played that, and I liked running around, even though my goat was my ram was too slow. He was a little too slow, but I couldn't use my horse underground, so whatever. This is the only game I've ever been that I've ever played where people can make their own music and put it into the game.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
So, and they have bands and they have whole guilds dedicated to making music and going and playing in the game. And that's whatever you think of the rest of the game, they have a blast doing it, because they are so dedicated to doing it. So like the Lonely Mountain Band, and there are a few others that there was a mariachi band the other night, that we were watching, and they were like all coordinating, and they had a burro named Taco Tuesday or something. I can't remember, but it was hilarious. And so I thought that made the game more fun and more enjoyable, just that it exists in that respect. But as we've already said, a lot of the quests were monotonous and boring, and that really kind of drags it down a bit. Because that questing is such a main part of an MMO. I gave it a B-, and there you have it.
Nice. I totally forgot about the people playing stuff. That's a really good point, because that is super, and it's super cool that they're there. Do you know that YouTube copyright striked my video, my last LOTRO video that I put up, because they played a song that YouTube then recognized and put a copyright strike on my video.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Whoever made that MIDI file for that band did a great job.
So
Because I tried, you guys. It's hard to do that music.
Yeah.
I tried to do some of it. It's hard. You got to use all these other tools, and it's not easy. So
crazy.
Those people are dedicated. Faux show.
You guys take my time.
Sparoh, you're up.
All right.
Sparoh,
Well,
you're out of time.
that was going to be my points as well. Is I had a ton of laughs just hanging out in this game with you guys, but also with all the role players and seeing the music that they do, and just going through the new areas whenever you'd get to somewhere new and you just bump up against that nostalgia and the books. I think it's amazingly fun that way. And the dungeons, I really enjoyed the dungeons as much as I very much disliked raiding. The dungeons were fun. They were challenging. They weren't overly challenging. And I'd continue to play this with all of you guys with just maybe a little bit of moonshine help. I would keep playing it, and I would go back and slow down and probably do a lot more of the quests and dungeoning and things like that I found really fun. So I gave it a B. A boisterous B.
Ooh,
LOTRO
nice
quickly
word.
Good. LOTRO quickly turned into like a drinking club.
Yeah.
Drink
It's the
every
fun you
time
bring.
Stans has to correct us on something
Yeah.
we're doing.
LOTRO
Speaking
is
of-
like what you make of it.
God.
You bring fun to the game. You have a good group of people, which is what MMOs are about, right? They're about grouping and hanging out with people and the atmosphere. And this sets you up to have a lot of fun.
I don't know, Sparoh. Somebody in chat said
I
earlier
don't know
you can
about that.
throw rocks around and have fun.
Great time.
But that's kind of what an MMO is for.
It's true. It's true.
Stans, what was the name of the dungeon
Oh,
that we
look at
beat with the torch, lighting the torch things, and what was that one called?
Lighting the torch things, the one where you were going in and burning bodies and lighting torches?
Yeah, the one where we tried it like 5 times and then we finally beat it. Sparoh had never beat it before. What was that called?
Oh, you're talking about Fornost.
Shadow.
Fornost?
Yep, Fornost, Wraith of Shadow.
Thank you.
That was another weird
Stanzia
little
B-
thing. Is like
Stanzia.
they had they had quests in the dungeons, but everyone got like a different quest. So like we're all doing different shit. I don't know.
Oh
It's
yeah,
weird.
that was weird. That was weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Nathan,
All right.
fun factor.
Lord of the Rings does become a bit of a chore if you're playing it like it's typical MMO, which why wouldn't you? It is an MMO. I just didn't think the grouping was that great. I just really didn't think it was
Ouch.
good at all. That's my main reason I will probably never come back to LOTRO is grouping is why I play MMOs. And I mean, we had some fun in the dungeons, but I didn't really think it was because of the dungeon design at all. It was mostly us making fun of the game that we had so much fun. So, I mean, that's not really good when that was where most of my enjoyment was coming from making fun of it. So, I just really, it just feels very, it's not that it's not fun, but it's just that it's not, also it isn't fun. It's just kind of like, I could play some LOTRO. I would say this. It would take a whole lot of Hobbit weed for me to actually have fun playing this game. More Hobbit weed than the Shire can possibly create. So I'm giving it a C. It's just meh.
Look at Mr. C's comment. We're not having fun with you. We're having fun at you. And that's true.
Right.
Guys, make sure you all vote in the poll.
Stands in the fire. Fun factor.
So this is one where I know I'm going to be the outlier, and a lot of it is because I have years in the game and I have played just a lot more content than you guys have, so it's not fair. It really isn't, because you guys haven't gotten to see end game stuff. You guys haven't gotten to run some of the stuff that I've gotten to do. So I feel bad, but I totally get, like, I know I'm supposed to be the one saying, no, all of you grading this low are wrong. No, like I'm not going to be the one saying, no, they're, don't be hard on it because of this or that. Like, I totally get a lot of the low grades. And I think actually Theric has graded this higher across the board than I have, which is weird. Aside from here, I give it an A for fun, just based on the sheer amount of time and things that I have seen in the game. This is a world that I enjoy living in, as opposed to something I log into to grind mobs and get XP in.
What's your P plus score? Just curious.
What?
What would your score be just based on playing with us this last however many weeks?
Frustrating.
Frustrated, yeah.
Here's the frustration score.
No, frustration score that varied week to week. P plus, I would give it a B. I enjoyed seeing a whole bunch of people see the game a lot for the first time, and learn things they liked and didn't like, and not sugarcoat things. It is an old, creaky, cranky game, and if you're here for the long haul, it's because you love it.
Just like EverQuest.
Yeah, it's the same reason why I uninstalling EverQuest was one of the happiest moments of my life after we finished creating that stream.
Oh, stands. All right, moving on to Theric. B. Lots of laughs were had. We played it in a way that was not intended. Old school, so that's on us. Theric. You're not here, so I can't argue with you. I don't know about that. It seems intentional. All right, other. He gave it also a B. Let me get his B in here.
Man, I need Theric to be my teacher because he's grading so
Right?
easy.
Dude, Derek is the milk toast of teachers. The best of the modern MMO style games. It just isn't the type of MMO I prefer. But a B. All right. Stance.
So go ahead and put me down for C for other. It has major issues. It is fighting with tech issues. Again, it is the core of this engine was written in 1998 when this was still a Vivendi game.
Oh my god.
Brutal.
Yeah, and after the WB and Turbine era, when it split off into being Standing Stone Games, Daybreak as their publisher absolutely gutted Standing Stone's budget and development ability, and they did everything they could to ransack this game as a short, quick cash grab so that they could put the money they got from LOTRO into keeping EverQuest running, because that's what they wanted to do with the money they got from publishing LOTRO. They just couldn't manage to kill it. And now that EG7 has the reins, even though Daybreak is still heavily involved in that, there's been a lot of really heavy shifts and a lot of light at the end of the tunnel. So even after all of the things that people have tried to do to kill the game, there's a great community, great content, and just a lot of fun to be had here.
I've listened to some other podcasts, and it kind of seems like the new Amazon LOTRO has thrown out a couple of like low-handed insults to the.
They've absolutely like not even trying to hide it, and like, a lot of people are gone. Really? You failed once already in 2 years. You're gonna do this again?
Yeah.
And come like that?
Yeah,
But-
I mean, Amazon and Lord of the Rings go so well. I mean, I'm so surprised.
I don't want to get into Amazon, but what I meant to say is like there are a lot, just like what's that other game we played that was with the one developer? Just had the one guy doing the development.
Project Gorgon?
Yeah, just like Project Gorgon, right? There's a lot of people that are not us, because we tend to shift from MMO to MMO, that just love this game, right? They just love it.
It's also really worth noting that even though technically this is a large IP and people think, oh, it's this or it's that, the Standing Stone Games dev team is freaking tiny. They have a very small team that works on developing, troubleshooting, and maintaining this game and DDO at the same time. They do not have separate engineering and dev teams that they can allocate to both of those games. Everybody there splits time keeping both of those games up and running.
Crazy. But there's people that
Take
are
that,
passionate.
Daybreak.
There's people that are passionate about this game and love it, and I think Amazon may have stepped in it a little bit, so always love to see that. Nathan, other.
Yeah, I know some people, because I can tell from the other things they said, would disagree with this, but I gave other a C, and that's because I personally believe, because I've had the most fun playing this game as a solo player. Just running around, digging into the lore, seeing the places of the world that you've read about in the books, and talking to characters, and just digging deep into the Tolkien lore. I think that's the solid point for this game, which is a bizarre place to be in, although these days that's fairly common for an MMO. MMOs are literally built for you to play with lots of other people and for it to be easy for you to find people to play with. That's why it's massive. So it's a weird place to be in, and it's just the biggest takeaway I have for the entire game is that it feels more fun for me if I don't worry about what level I am. I don't worry about anything except for just going where I want to go, exploring, and seeing places and living in the world. That's all there is to this game. But it's really good at that. So it's just kind of meh overall as an MMO. So C.
Meh.
Sparoh, other.
So I still love it because it's still nostalgic. Every time I log in, I just get that feeling, especially when I'm in Bree. I just love it there. I think it's an immersive world. And unfortunately, it is better when you're soloing and able to disregard leveling, as Nathan was saying, and just immerse yourself in it. Our playstyle just did not do this game justice, I think, because I've played by myself and I've played with Bounty and I've played with like 4 people all together and always had a great time. This kind of trying to just get to the dungeons and trying just to get to the raiding really was such a different experience. I know everybody's got different opinions on that, but I've played the game in multiple different ways and had a ton of fun with it. And it is super immersive, and you can find really good quests and the book quests and things like that if you just let yourself kind of get lost in it.
Right.
So I'm giving it a B+.
Just to let everybody know how we landed on LOTRO, because this is the only game that we've done twice on the MMO 101/201. We did it earlier in the way beginning years when this was like the second or third game we did, Nathan?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
I think it was the third, but yeah, somewhere in that realm, yeah, for sure.
Maybe it was after Dungeons and Dragons and Guild Wars 2, maybe? Anyway.
Yeah.
But Theric and I wanted to get a game that we could all agree on, which is hard to do with 12 people. And that we could focus on grouping and rating. We had never done any rating with the 101 or 201. And so we wanted to do a game that we could raid. And so 12-man raids were really attractive, that we could do that. Of course, we didn't know how that was going to turn out at the time, but
Whoops.
when we started, that was one of the reasons we wanted to do that. Was the 12-band rating.
Raiding was super fun.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
raiding with you guys was super fun.
yeah.
Mana Rohan, other.
Oh man, this is a big big question because other covers obviously other things. It wasn't that clever, everyone. But for me, the music and the atmosphere were really, really good. There are other games out that are newer that might be, I think of games like Elden Ring that also kind of, in a weird way, give me the same kind of feelings. Or rather, flip that. Lord of the Rings Online gives me the same kind of feelings there, in that there's kind of this, the way the music is punctuates your progression through the land. When you get into the old forest, it's creepy. When you get to the lands as you get closer to Weathertop, it's kind of scary. And so I really that made it a great place to just walk around and look at things, and I was happy to do so that made it, that could be in the fun category as well. That just made it really nice to be around. So the care of the makers of the game, like I maybe I've said this before, but I haven't done it for a little while, but I used to follow every Tuesday night. There's a guy named the Tolkien Professor, and we go through a textual criticism of the Lord of the Rings text. We've been doing it for like 6 years, and half of it is that, and half of it is going through Lord of the Rings, the game, and kind of looking at and pointing out things in the game on, well, they added this here, and this must be from this part of the race, and this must be from that. So I was kind of drawing on that. So you guys didn't have that experience as well, but I was drawing on that as I was in there, and it was just really nice. But the things that draw back from that are the multiple currencies is such a bummer. All the different things that you have to get currency on, and the map is really really annoying.
Oh, I'm glad somebody brought up the map.
You beat me to that one.
Those are just, they just kind of make like, gosh, and then of course the lag. So all said, that brings me to a B overall, and I think I'm looking at my grades, and I was kind of harsh on this game, but anyway, B it is. That's all I have to say.
All right, Crow.
I was just thinking about how people tend to focus on the dark. You see like the 12th game where you play Gollum coming out. It's always the dark side. And one of the things that I loved about Middle-earth when I was growing up was the landscapes, the adventure in these beautiful places and with their rich history. And I think they really captured that here in this game. I was so excited to reach Eregion and just be able to look around this wonderful landscape and ride around it. They really made some beautiful places here, even though, we're talking about this ancient technology. They did some good things with it. The skies, sometimes. The reflection of the skies in the water. They really took advantage of all that. So atmospherically, it was really a lovely game. The fiddle playing in the Shire, the music that kind of hints at the movies without actually going there. There's just a lot of the atmosphere. I think they really did well. And another thing about it, and I think Stan's mentioned this, and when you talk about games that people just want to live in for a while, a lot of people want to live in this game. You see them in Bree. You see them playing music together, as Mana Rohan pointed out. I really think that they did a lot of things right in making a world. if we just ignore the game for a few minutes. The world is pretty cool and beautiful and can be, you can get immersed in that. And the community that is there with you being immersed in that world. And so that's the other I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to give that an A.
Fair enough. Vendini.
I can't follow that. That was amazing. Crow should talk more. Jeez, that was really good. I just have a couple of bullet points here. So, like Crow said, the atmosphere of the game, I think it looks pretty good for the age of the game. I like the way they captured different areas of the world. For the most part, I found it to be a mostly single-player game, except for the times when we got together to group. And the lag monster is a real monster in this game. And that's all I have. And C, another average C.
All right, Essen, other?
The maps. The maps in this game made me realize how maps are like one of the most important things of an MMO for me. They're absolutely critical to understanding the world at large. And in this game, when you right-click to zoom out, which is very intuitive, it takes you, I don't know where. And then you zoom out again, it takes you, I have no idea where. And so like the whole time, like, I don't know how to get from one zone to the next zone. Not even just like, you could see that, a road leads you, like, if you're in a map of your zone, you can follow the trace of the road, like, it leads to the next zone. I don't know what that zone is, and once I get there, I don't know where to go to any other zone beyond that. I have no idea what's going on. And, like, if I'm questing, it's like, I can't quest anymore because I know where to go, but I have no idea how to get there. It was a nightmare. And the maps look like they were drawn in MS Paint, and, man, I've seen a lot better things drawn in MS Paint. That and the lag. We've spoken about it before, but like, imagine spending every day of your life with terrible tinnitus in both ears. It affects everything you do at all times, and that's the lag in this game. Like, it's not like constantly, but it's frequent enough that it could come at any time, last for as long as it wants to last. You will die because of lag. You won't know when it happens, and it's just like,
it's gout.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we live with it. Like, I live with my next door neighbor Carol. Like, it's a nightmare.
Names.
Oh, you shall meet Carol. Believe me.
Names.
Nobody likes Carol.
Dude.
We're about to get together with our two neighbors and have like
trash cat. Enough.
Anyways, lag and Carol are both terrible, but overall I had to give it a F with a triple minus because the lag is just unbearable, and it's in every single part of the game, no matter where you go. It ruins it.
Yeah,
it does.
It's pretty bad.
Can I just say though about the map thing that also that's a lore appropriate thing. The maps were supposed to have been drawn out by Bilbo Baggins years and years and years after his adventure. Therefore, that's why they suck so bad. I'm pretty sure.
I'm not sure. I think that may be covering my least favorite part of the map was that when you did your right click thing and it zoomed you out to I don't know where. That when you hit the M key to like get rid of the map and then you hit the M key to bring it back up, it was still in the same spot.
Yep.
It didn't like reset to the default view. You were still I don't know where, and you had to like guess how to get back to where you actually were. Like there was no going back to yourself.
Pretty sure I was here.
The map was like an impediment more than it was a tool.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
Well, you have to already know what the world looks like before you use the map and for the map to be useful.
I didn't know that was a requirement of play.
That's what I'm saying. It shouldn't be, right? You shouldn't have to already know.
Well, there are maps in the books. they've got the little
Are they
maps
better than
at
the
the
maps
front
in
of
the
the
games?
books, and
Yeah,
you
They are
should
better.
hold those
go
up
get the
and
book.
looked at
Yeah.
those for reference instead.
If you took the map behind Sparoh right now and put a cursor to where the player was, like a little arrow where the player was, that would be a million times better than the LOTRO maps.
All right,
Okay, I
Sarah.
think you've gone over 3 minutes. So my summary is maps, travel, and learning anything. Maps was my number one complaint as well.
Learning anything.
So yeah, I was trying to get from point A to point B to follow a quest line. They don't give you any instructions in the quest on how to get there, which okay, I like my games to be challenging. I don't want to be like led around by a golden, string or anything. But I would at least like to know that it's in this general direction. And if they're not going to tell me that, I at least need to be able to look at the map to see that point A connects to point B at some point. I was following the map. It was like, okay, I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to go to the zone north of me. Okay, it looks like I can probably go here and get to that zone. And I'm literally running along like a canyon or something, trying to get to the next zone. And it looks like there's a road, and there never was. Like, I was never able to get into the next zone trying to follow the maps. So that was when I gave up on trying to follow the quests, by the way. So yeah, maps, travel in general, like there are so many different ways to travel, and you have to use this horse to get to this place, but then not that way, and then if you just ride your horse it's going to take forever. Like that part was really painful. Honestly, just learning how to do anything. Like when we got our epic weapons or whatever they're called in this game, and it was like, oh, now you have to slot it by doing this, and you have to go to this guy to do it. Oh, but no, you have to put it into this thing here. And it was just like, seriously, if we didn't have a Stanspedia telling us how to do anything in this game, I wouldn't have been able to figure it out. And I don't know if part of that is just like this game's been around forever, so the people who try to come into it this late in the game, because this was my first time playing, if it's really just that big of a handicap because of that, because I can imagine people trying to play EverQuest for the first time today, which was my original game, feeling the same way. Whereas if I jump back into EverQuest now, I'm like, oh right, this is how you do this. That's how you make a macro. That makes sense. That's like I can figure it out. But I started with an old game with EverQuest, and I could not figure out LOTRO. Like it was so frustrating to me, and there was no way to like look it up and find accurate information online. At least that I felt. So yeah, I felt like if I didn't have a Stanspedia, I wouldn't have been able to get anything accomplished in this game. So maps, travel, and learning anything all sucked so hard. That's a hard F for me.
I think we've all established that everyone should have a stands in their group.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to. It should be like an AI to put it in the game.
Yeah.
Stan's GPT.
Fate.
I think that was the longest rant I had, by the way. That's how bad
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was.
it was a good one. It felt right.
So this game, I think Crow really nailed my sentiments about this game with like, you really did feel pretty immersed. Like just about everything. Like felt like you were in the Shire when you were there, and you felt like you were at Bree, and like the atmosphere of the game was amazing. As you wander around from zone to zone, like you had these zones that were bright and cheery, and these other zones that were like clearly like in the midst of a war. And other zones that were just plain gorgeous. Like Lothlorien was gorgeous when I got out of Moria, and you got into Lothlorien, and it was just like these trees everywhere. It was gorgeous. But for all the other things that people have listed, the map, the lag, the raids just kind of being pretty random with their difficulty and mechanics and stuff like that. Like overall, like it kind of detracted from that a lot. Where I would get taken out from this like enjoyment of the atmosphere of the game pretty frequently, either by stuttering or by some other thing going on. So for me, it was a B.
All right, Ari.
All right.
Kind of big.
A beautiful B.
Thank you.
Beautiful B. For everything else about this game, And I'm just going to echo what other people have said. The lag is absolutely unbearable. It kills it from top to bottom. You cannot play a game if you can't play the game.
Yep.
It's why? Again, why
Just
is there
why?
a lag? Just why? Just, I understand it's a small team and they're overwhelmed and they've got a lot of stuff. Just stop what you're doing and figure out the lag so your players can actually play the game. And then make more content or whatever. But
Or remove some bloat. Sorry.
remove some of the stupid quests that don't
Oh
need
my
to be
god.
there. Fix your leveling so that when you're leveling up a character, the leveling process is better. So you don't have to spend your 200 EXP pot and all your perks and just grind out mission after mission after mission. Make the rest of the game a leveling experience as well. You increase the amount of experience you get from the quests that are still there after you remove all the extraneous stuff. It's just there's so much potential for this game, especially with the fan base that it has, that's not capitalized on. It's wasted, and that's disappointing. So my grade for this was a D. And the biggest things that brought it down were the lag, the leveling experience, and that it's a very lonely MMO.
Yeah.
You might say it's a lonely D.
Yeah, it's a lonely D.
Lonely, sad D.
It's the lonely D. It's a very flaccid, lonely D.
Give that D a V, exactly.
Oh boy.
That'll cheer that D right
All
up.
right. Well, that will transition nicely into my other. I have lag because, like, dude, sometimes you would sit there for 60 seconds and not be able to move. And if you, like, 5-second stuns to me in an MMO, like if you're playing PvP, is like an eternity. When you sit there for 60 seconds and your screen's not doing anything, like you're trying to rip it off your desk or something. Like, it's ridiculous, for no reason. But I'm not going to belabor that. Also, I can't believe no one's brought up the doors.
Oh my god.
We have joked.
I had doors listed in my group rating grade.
We joked about doors the whole time, but it's funny, but it's not like funny haha. It's funny we're making fun of the game because we would do these dungeons and raids, and half our group would get through the door, and it would trigger the door and split our group in half, and then which would have been whatever, right? You do that once and then you fix it. But the thing is, when you were group wiped because you only had half the party in the dungeon or whatever, you had to run back through the entire raid or dungeon to back to the spot, which was like 5 to 8, 10 minutes that you had to spend like getting back to where you were. So it was just like, and there was no warning. There was no signal of like, hey, this is the boss room or gather your group. You couldn't tell that what you were entering. It looked like any other room, right? And all of a sudden, boom, the door shuts and you're just done. And that's super frustrating.
Like completely no reason. Like if there was a reason,
no reason. And like, sometimes the door actually just killed you.
You shut in the middle of it and you're just dead.
Like, that's purposeful. That's purposeful developed bullcrap. That's what that is. It's ridiculous.
It makes elevators look so good.
Right?
I gave it a D for dead doors. So, all
Even
right.
the Vanguard elevator.
Yeah.
In that one dungeon.
The doors in LOTRO were way worse than the Vanguard elevator.
All right.
Even the Vanguard emulator elevator, which had no reason to work correctly.
Which is extra Vanguardy.
So we have already hit our 8 o'clock. So let's zoom through these GPAs. GPA is not a average of your other grades. It is just It's just a total reflection of how you feel about the game itself.
Oh, good.
So
My grade makes sense then.
I gave mine a C-. I think it's a solid game. There's so much that could be improved on. It's got the LOTRO Lord of the Rings franchise. It could be so much better, but it's got too much stuff for me to rate it any higher than that. Average. Airy.
Oh gosh, I'm on the wrong end. I did a C- just because it's like throw up in your mouth a little bit when you've eaten too much. And that's just how I feel about the game overall. While there are some good aspects, it's just
What's a good aspect of throwing up in your mouth a little bit?
What's the wrong end?
It relieves
taste
the
the food again
tension.
if it was good.
I don't know. I don't want to know what.
Sometimes things taste better the second time around.
I don't know what Airy. I don't want to know what Airy's D is. If that's her C-.
Right?
That is a really personal question.
Oh god.
That's
By the way,
extreme.
if you know you're gonna puke, drink a lot of apple juice. It makes it so much better.
Oh,
Okay.
Or milk.
Definitely
This
don't eat salsa.
This is an educational stream. Fate. GBA.
FC. It's an average game. Yeah, it's an average MMO. An
Sarah.
average modern MMO.
Oh, that was it? Okay.
Go.
I went with my feeling on how like overall felt about the game and not an average. So I gave it a D. And the only reason it's not lower is because I really had fun playing with you guys.
Essen.
I gave it a D+, and I wrote the reasons why. Lag, aggressively mediocre, terrible maps, wildly unintuitive at every level, and too many quitting points where you just feel like, this is a good place for me to stop forever.
Not for the night, but forever.
Yep.
Vindini.
I gave it a C-. It is an average-ish game.
Oh, the grading cannot keep up. Crow. GPA.
As a world, A. As a game, C.
All right. Amanda Rohan.
I gave it a 2.4 because I actually followed the rules of grade point average.
Oh, my course you did.
Rules? What
Which gives it
rules?
that's a solid C.
I was
That's a
told
C-
there
it's a
would be
C+.
no math.
But I give this chart an A because it was really well done.
It was
Really
Draq.
good.
Thank you.
I want to thank Draq for making me purple.
3.4.
Give a 2.4 in there. Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Sparoh overall GPA.
Overall, I always come back to this game every year. I come for a while and play it. It will always bring me back. It's a fun place to just hang out. So it gets a B+ from me.
Nathan.
Well, listen, I should have said this during the other, but I have to say this real quick. We've talked a lot about lag, but one thing we didn't talk about is there is so many different kinds of lag. I didn't even know this kind of lag existed. I got to mention this. There was the one weird lag where the world is still going, but it's almost like the developers were like, all the players aren't allowed to move. But the world is still continuing on. That was the weirdest, like, it's not like it froze. It was like, you just aren't allowed to do anything for a while, lag. That was the weirdest. It has various layers of lag. It is the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. But anyway, I had to mention that. I give it a C. It's just average. Its high points are only because it's Lord of the Rings.
Like a rainbow of lag.
Dance.
I haven't been clipping this. I should have clipped it.
Okay.
I'm sure there's some good clips coming from this one. So, kind of like Crow on hers, I split mine here a little bit. Purely objectively, I would say that this is a C+ game. For me, it is an A-, and it is just because this is my home. This is literally the game where I live. I cannot overall grade it low because it has hooked me for 16 years. It's hooked me since before this was a launched game.
It's a long time, man.
You've seen everything, and you've seen so much more. So,
Seen so much
yeah.
more. Yep. And Theric gave it a B. His reasoning is the best of the modern MMO style games. It just isn't the type of MMO. Oh no, I'm sorry. He didn't give a reason for the GPA. That was other. He just gave it a B. I'm antsy about reading stuff apparently.
So the
There
lowest
are words,
score,
you must read them.
the lowest score is
for
my
blunt.
score with a D, which is very interesting to me. And the highest score stands, which is not surprising.
Stands and Theric, yeah.
Mine is heavily weighted here. Like this is my subjective versus objective.
I'm a
I'd be
little
disappointed if he had a lower score.
I'm a little surprised at Mana Rohan's grading. I thought it was going to be a lot higher than it was. But I thought Nathan's grading was going to be a lot lower than it was.
Yeah.
I just hated the way we played it. I don't hate Lord of the Rings. It's because it is Lord of the Rings. I kind of do like the game. But man, I might take a long break after this.
we played Lord of the Rings longer than Nathan has ever played Lord of the Rings. So
yes, we have.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
I still have 2 months left on my VIP, but I'm not using those 2 months. There are too many. We've got Final Fantasy 16. I've got Tears of the Kingdom. Too many things to play.
All right. Well, this is where our Lord of the Rings journey ends. We have found the ring. We threw it in the mountain, and now we're going to go on to a different adventure.
Right in the
so
mountain.
for the MMO 101, next week we are diving back into Embers Adrift.
Baby.
Because that's what we all voted, and that's what we all want to do. We are doing. We were kind of waiting on some new MMOs to come out, and they all postponed themselves. So we just decided it's summer. We're going to do what we want to do. So we're going back to Embers. The 2-1, apparently you guys are still deciding what you're going to do. Is there?
Yeah,
We're still weighing our options. Yep.
You're still weighing all the
Eric
options.
said he'd come to a decision soon.
Okay. All right. So you have
It's super fun to play it the same game, but it's also, like you said, hard to get 12 people to agree.
Dude, it's super hard. It's hard to get 6 people to agree. We had to do polls.
Also, what is there to do for 12 people in Embers?
Nothing. There's nothing to do in
No,
Embers.
there's
It's group only.
We are still considering Embers, but yeah.
The only thing that you could do is then we could switch back and forth outside of the streaming time. Would be the only thing. So yeah. So Nathan Napalm, what else you got going on this week?
We've got me and Sparoh will both be streaming simultaneously P99 here on Friday. I'll be streaming some Final Fantasy 16 when it launches, and Saturday will be a new episode of Cringe Pony, so come see what old Granny and Plant Man and MMO Cop are up to.
Woot woot. Sarah, what about yourself?
Eston and I are kind of bouncing back and forth between EQ and Embers, just depending on who is available to play that week. So Saturdays at 8 Central, we hang out on Twitch.
We hang out, bring drinks.
Hang some out. Mana Rohan.
Darkmar Dirge. It's coming, just very slowly.
Sparoh.
This week I dropped the highlights from the June developer live stream from Pantheon, the Burning Questions. And Friday streaming now on my YouTube channel. So if any of you are following on my Twitch channel and would like to continue watching my streams, I am now live streaming on Sparoh's Perch. So hop on over there if you want to.
All right. And for Pantheon Plus, this Thursday is why can't I'm blanking on the name. What is it?
Parting the Veil.
Parting. I wanted to say Behind the Veil for some reason. Parting the Veil.
When you part it, you'll see what's behind that.
That's a different stream. Parting the Veil with Desrin, Man Rohan, and possibly another guest. Did anyone ever reach out to our third guest?
Our third guest is doing something different that night, so it will just be Desrin and myself.
All right. So Desrin and Man Rohan will be on after Parting the Veil. Make sure that after you watch the Parting the Veil, you come hang out with Desrin and Man Rohan. So that'll be super fun. Other than that,
Sunday we've got Quest and Coffee.
Oh, Quest and Coffee. That's right. Theric and crew are back with Quest and Coffee. Yeah, thanks, Fate. So
Yeah.
make sure to join for
We're
that.
excited. We've been having tons of fun. It's great. Come join
Yeah,
us.
it is super fun.
Yeah. As with every MMO that we grade, remember it's not personal. Some of my grades were pretty harsh, but we had a good time in LOTRO. It's if you play a certain style of and you love quests and you love reading things, like LOTRO might be your thing. But we
Love Lore
bid
Master.
we bid Lord of the Rings goodbye, and we will see you next week.
Toodaloo, Lotro.
Yes.
Wave bye bye to the people.
Farewell.
Bye bye.
Later.
Bye, everyone, people.
Bye.